I want to talk a little bit about relationships and about love. And I want to preface all this by saying that I am not a therapist. I'm not your therapist. This is not medical advice. I am not a healthcare provider. I'm not a clinician of any kind. um, I'm a photographer with a bachelor's degree and opinions. Um, so this may or may not be in line with anybody else's opinions. These are my opinions only, so don't at me about them. Um, if it's good, take it. If not, leave it. But I have someone close to me who's going through a relationship that's ending, and uh, I have had the privilege of being there for this person as she goes through this transition, and she's really struggling with, I think, some binary views on love, affection, romantic feelings, and the this contrast between someone who says they love you, but then does things that hurt you. And we've talked a lot about words versus actions. Um, I can say all day, I love you, I love you, I love you. But if I don't act like it, or if I don't act like it consistently, if I don't do the actions of being good to this person that I'm telling I love, um, honestly, what's the point? That's not ever going to be, unless the person whose words are inconsistent with their actions changes. That's not ever going to be a healthy or non-toxic relationship to be in. Um, when someone is treating you badly, um, it can be really, really hard when they're saying all the right things and they're saying, "Baby, I love you. Baby, I'll never leave you. Baby, I'm here for you." But then they're not doing those things. And I think my friend who I love dearly is really struggling with this. Um, you say you love me, but you do crappy things. And does that mean that you don't love me and you never loved me at all? But if you're saying you love me, then surely you'll change. And the thing is that, yeah, people can change, but also you have to believe people when they tell you who they are. When somebody tells you who they are, believe them. And if you are in a relationship where you have been begging somebody to change and begging them to change, and they keep saying they're gonna anytime now, they're gonna go to therapy, they're gonna go to couples therapy with you, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that, and then they don't do those things. Intent is not magic. In good intentions um, don't count, because in the meantime you're still unhappy while this person is over here saying nice things and not doing them. And I meant to say at the beginning of this video that, again, I'm not a relationship expert, but so my observations here are coming entirely from a 20, how many? 24 years of a solid, stable, single, monogamous relationship. And so yeah, I'm basically that old lady that's like, you kids these days and your relationships. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be that way at all, but having watched relationships come and go in the people I know over the years, there are patterns, and one of the patterns is this: I love you, baby. I love you, baby. And it hurts me so much when you tell me how I hurt you. That hurts me. And that's some abusive nonsense. There's a meme, and I'm scrolling to find it right now. There's a meme from Abby Govindon on Twitter. It's at ABBYGOV that says, straight breakups are. I'm having to move my phone so I can see my computer screen. Sorry. Straight breakups are great because the guy is always like, she really traumatized me when she told me how much I hurt her. Meanwhile, the girl is like, Some things he did could be considered a felony in certain states, but I swear he's not a bad person. And this really encapsulates what I'm talking about here. Because particularly uh, women, which includes everybody who identifies as a woman, people who identify as women are women. But particularly in relationships with cis men, you know, it's easy to spend all our time beating ourselves up trying to figure out what we need to change to be treated well. And the thing is that our partner has to want to change. They have to do that work. And we can line up couples therapy, and we can line up, we can buy them books and hope they read it, and we can send them memes or articles, and we can beg and we can plead, and we can box ourselves into little bitty boxes, and we can shut down our joy and our personality, and change ourselves into somebody that we think will get the appropriate reactions from them. But if they don't want to change, they're not going to. You cannot force other people to change. And so I think in our culture, we have this concept of love. Love changes everything, which is also the title of a Broadway song I actually really like. But this concept that when you love someone, that automatically means that you'll climb the mountain, or you'll swim across the sea, or you'll change whatever you have to change, you'll do whatever you have to do to treat that person in a way that is romantic and healthy and wonderful and loving. But that's not necessarily real life. It is entirely possible to love somebody and still not be capable of being in a healthy relationship with them. Either because you don't have the relationship skills that you need to be in a functional relationship with someone else, or they don't have those skills. And sorry, this is depressing, but love may not be enough to overcome that. And your love cannot overcome their dysfunction. Your love may not be enough to overcome their toxicity. And that's not on you, that's on them. They have to want to fix that. And some people lack healthy relationship skills because they were exposed to trauma or dysfunction that hurt them and changed the way that they interact with people. Some people have toxic relationship patterns and actions because they were exposed to childhood abuse or trauma or dysfunction, and they absorb those patterns as this is how people interact, and they're bringing those into their current relationships. Some people are just mean. Some people are abusive, and we don't have to agonize over what happened to you that you're treating me badly. Our job is to protect ourselves. Our job is to set boundaries. We don't have to, particularly when someone is being abusive, we don't have to understand their deepest feelings. We have to protect ourselves. That's our first obligation. But we have this concept that romantic love is just, it will push people to be the best possible version of themselves. And for some people, I'm sure that's true. I mean, again, I've been in my relationship for 24 years. We've been married 20, and we dated for 4 years before that. And I think my relationship has pushed me to be the best version of myself that I can be. I have unlearned a lot of really passive aggressive, crappy communication habits over this period. But that is not necessarily true for everybody. I think some people have more capacity than others to adapt their behavior, to be willing to change, to be able to change. And if someone says they're going to change, cool, but they have to do it. And I think that somebody can genuinely believe. I think someone can genuinely love someone else and can genuinely believe that they're treating that person well, or that they're doing the best that they can, or that they don't need to change. And that can, that can certainly happen, and they can be sincere. but it's not true. I think someone can sincerely say, I love you, while treating you badly. And they believe that they love you and they believe that they are doing good things and you're the problem. And and that's so hard, and I just have so much sympathy for that and empathy for that, because it's really hard to have somebody telling you they love you while their actions don't show it. And we also have this cultural conception that, well, if you actually loved me, then you wouldn't treat me badly. So, and then which means that if you're treating me badly, you don't love me. And of course this is, can show up in all kinds of relationships, not just romantic ones, but that's what I'm talking about here. But I think it's really important to understand that love isn't enough all the time, and that you can love someone and the relationship can still not work. Um, and maybe it's because, you genuinely love them, they genuinely love you, but you have different life priorities that don't reconcile. Or you have different needs. Or you want kids and they don't, or vice versa. Or any kind of other, tons of other incompatibilities that are just not surmountable. And that's not even talking about, toxicity and dysfunction and abuse. Um, it's entirely possible for a relationship not to work out when two people actually do love each other and want to do well by each other and just can't for whatever reason. So so you have no obligation whatsoever to stay with someone who needs to change and doesn't, or isn't. No matter what they say, no matter whether they talk the talk or not. Um and I think it's really easy to fall into the cycle of hoping they'll change. And then they say they're going to change, and that's great, and you're excited. And of course, you need to give them time to change, of course. So you give them time, and they don't change. So then you have this process of accepting that they're not changing, and then deciding what you're going to do about it. And then maybe possibly punishing yourself, blaming yourself, punishing yourself, making yourself smaller, making yourself, less like yourself to try to get them to change, and blaming yourself for them not changing. And then maybe there's a crisis, and they say they're going to change, and the whole thing starts again. And my friend who I love dearly, and everybody else who's watching this, you have permission to break that cycle. You have permission to say, you said you were going to change and you didn't, and I'm done. Because, and it doesn't mean that someone doesn't love you. It just means that that's not enough. And, I'm sorry. And I want functional, healthy relationships for everybody. But good intent and love may not be enough to save it. And you deserve a relationship where you are loved and accepted and appreciated and treated well, and not snapped at, and or not abused, or not gaslit, or not disbelieved. You deserve good things in your relationships, and it's okay to expect those things from whoever you're with, or everyone you're with. And it's okay to say, I love you, but it's not enough. And I'm done. That is always okay. There is nothing wrong with you for deciding that you're no longer going to accept poor treatment.